Welcome back to Car Trouble. Now, Jeremy Clarkson has just dropped another bombshell on his way out the door. In the final episode of the Grand Tour, he said, electric cars are shit, and the EV community aren't happy about it at all. Now, when I made a video about electric cars, I also upset the EV guys, so I thought it'd be a really good idea to invite one of them along for a bit of a debate. Should be interesting. Right, so this is my brother Dan. He's an advocate of electric cars. We argue about it a lot. Christmas is shit at our house. He's brought along his latest acquisition, which is a... what is it?
Tesla Model Y Performance.
As I was told in the comments, apparently it's the best-selling car in the world for good reason, so we'll probably find that out today. I've brought along my environmentally friendly Audi A8 4.2 V8 TDI, and we're going to go out in both cars and just chat about them. What's the benefit of an electric car? What's the benefit of a nice car? And then we're going to do a swap and drive each other's. We're not out to prove if one's better than the other one. What I would like to showcase is that there's some kind of debate to be had for not banning either, but we'll see what happens.
We're not going to ban either of them.
Game face. We're going to get in the Tesla first. Neither we.
That's his only party trick.
I was about to show you my party trick.
But what are you going to do with it though? I mean, you know, okay, so you can rattle up to 30 miles an hour in a second and a half or something, but you know, and you're just behind everybody else, aren't you?
Historically, I suppose we've been a fairly pro ICE channel and fairly anti-EV channel, which is not strictly true.
Quite true.
However, I'm willing to give EVs fair airtime. So, to try and be fair, I think bringing you on will give both sides of the story. So, in your words then, why electric cars?
For me or for everybody?
Both.
For me, I suppose it was a chance to have a new car. First time in ages, given the tax breaks.
Is that the only reason then? Without the tax breaks, you wouldn't have had a new car?
I probably wouldn't have had a new car, no, because there's a hell of a depreciation on a new car, any new car, isn't there? Since then, I suppose, I've succumbed to the draw of electric cars. I kind of get that it's the future. It's about taking the society forward, isn't it? You think about the horse and cart many years ago, and the streets were full of horse manure, and you had to stop and feed them every now and again.
Yeah, people say that though. They say about Betamax and VHS, but also don't forget that CDs came and went, and vinyl's still going.
Well, vinyl had a comeback, and I think ICE will have a comeback as well. I mean, they'll be saying that everybody has to have the same car, but as a society and as an economy, you've got to progress. You've got to move forward. You know, nobody was saying I want to keep horse and cart. You can still have a horse. People still ride horses, but we haven't got the streets of London full of horse manure anymore.
So I'll give it to you in the fact that one of the biggest drawbacks for me with electric vehicles is the driving experience. Now, I'll come on to this car in a second, but you had a Taycan previously, which we did a video on the channel.
Yeah, love that.
To be fair, I liked it. I still have all the same reservations that I have with electric cars, like the range anxiety.
Funny thing is, people who have EVs don't have range anxiety. That's the weird thing. It's only people who don't have EVs that seem to have it. For us,
I've spoken to people with EVs who have range anxiety. People, and they're generally the people that want to swap back. I was told in the comments many, many times that I should drive a Tesla Model Y because it's the best-selling car in the world for a reason. Why is it the best-selling car? What's so good about it?
It's a lot of car for the money.
Yeah. It's a lot of money for the car. How much was this? What's the retail price?
I think they're about 55, something like that. 57. So I think we got this about.
So if we were playing top trumps now, my car a couple of years ago was 4,500.
Yeah. Yeah,
which leaves a lot of spare change left over for cocaine and hookers.
What was I talking about? Oh, yeah. So this is a lot. I think this is quite a lot of car for the money. That's what people like them. Can
you turn the heat down on the seat? Yeah. This is one of my problems with Teslas.
I've learned this now.
I don't know how to work anything. I've got a seat that's boiling me to death, and I can't turn it off.
Do you know how to do it? You've got to put your fingers behind it. Otherwise your finger bounces around like all touch screens. Keep your eyes on the road, press that. I think that's it. There you go.
It does feel a bit dangerous that you have to keep looking down at that thing and scrolling through.
Tell me about it.
Instead of just touching a heated seat button.
Just give me a button. Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of the modern cars, particularly electric cars, get that wrong. But that's not a problem with EV drivetrain. That's a problem of their trying to jazz up the design.
Do you actually like this car?
It's all right. Yeah, I mean, as it goes. I mean, there are some things I like about it. I mean, it's quite quick. I can watch woke movies on Disney Netflix or whatever.
And reasons you don't like it?
I'd look like a stooge if I start listing out all the reasons I don't like it. You'll have everybody in the comments saying, who have you brought on? Your brother who hates EVs as well. It's not a great driving experience, and for me, I think, probably to a lot of people that follow your channel, the driving experience is a big part of it. It just doesn't have any soul. It's a bit crude, a bit aggressive sometimes. But yeah, it's nice enough. I mean, it's nice to have a new car. It's nice to have it's relatively comfortable. It's simple inside. It's nice enough. It's got some great features. I mean, it's got this big, deep glove box thing in the middle, which you can actually open. Don't know how to open that one yet.
Feeling a bit sick.
It's quite a rough ride. The thing that mostly annoys me about this car is the rattles in the back. On a new car.
What's rattling a minute?
I've no idea. I'd have to get in the back and find it. It's probably just stuff that doesn't quite fit properly and just rattles about.
So build quality wise then?
It's not a great experience. I think the level of quality that Tesla showrooms are prepared to sell is different to the level of quality that most traditional manufacturers would provide. If you go and buy a car off a traditional forecourt, it's going to be renewed, it's going to be pristine. Any manufacturing defects would have been resolved. That's not really the case when you buy a Tesla. Certainly from my experience, it was a pretty shocking experience end to end, really. It starts out pretty well, buy it online, very small amount of choice, which is great, nice and easy. You can change the wheels, you can change the colour. That's about it, really. There's not much else to do with it. Kind of like that, but after that point, once you have to go and interact with the showroom, pick up the car, shocking nightmare.
Why?
Well, just from the experience, the fact that they don't seem to know anything about it when you get there. They don't seem to know how anything works. They don't seem to know where your car is, what they should be doing with it, why you're there. Very strange the way they've centralised everything to a centralised call centre. You can't speak to anybody in Tesla. Any delivery issue. So when they've delivered mine, they scrunch the alloys down the curb, which is very easy to do in these wheels actually. And then you've got to book it in for an appointment to get it repaired. And you can't, and that's almost impossible to do because they cancel them on you without even asking.
Any more bad points with the car itself?
I thought we were doing good points.
I was doing both. You've been rattling on for about 25 minutes about the good points.
I've been trying to think about the things I actually like about it.
What's the rainbow shit? Is that the LBGTQ road?
Yeah. That's the autopilot thing. It's one of the things they released in one of the software updates, so you can make your rainbow coloured. I don't know why they're doing that. Who knows?
Have they got a yellow brick one as well?
Well, this is the thing about Tesla that annoys me a bit. All the time they spend doing things like this and make it so you can do a fart noise outside or inside the car.
Can you do a fart noise?
Just give me a button for something. Give me a button that opens the charge port. It's not that difficult.
Well, that's the problem. The other electric car manufacturers have copied this. They've taken away all the buttons and just put in. Even the Taycan, you had to go through the menu to adjust the vents.
But that's a new car thing more than it's an EV thing.
Yeah, but I don't know why they're copying it.
They did the same thing. Apple did the same thing. Apple were suddenly really successful at selling devices, laptops, all sorts of things. And when they looked at the laptops, the other manufacturers losing their market share, they thought, right, we've got to make our laptops out of metal. No, that's not the reason they're doing so well. It's part of it. Oh no, we need to put a really terrible keyboard on it, really thin keyboard. No, that wasn't the reason either. That's not the reason that people are buying Apple MacBooks.
The user experience.
They're buying it for the user experience, exactly.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it would soften the blow for a lot of people if they actually had an electric car with dials and knobs and buttons on.
Which is why
it would ease the transition, but I think I'd prefer it.
But overall, it's the driving experience, and this is the really polarising thing. It's the one-pedal driving experience. That's the thing I find most difficult. Everybody is going to be commenting on, oh, that's the best thing about EVs. For me, it's something that they came up with as an easy workaround. Everything that Elon Musk has done to this car is to make it more mass-producible, cheaper, to give you great value for the money you're spending compared to, say, an Audi or a Mercedes.
So let me ask you this thing. I've had a Tesla Model 3 a couple of times from the place I used to work at, and it was quick and everything, and it was cheap to run. However, two big problems for me, apart from not being able to operate anything and just having to have the heater and the radio set as it was the person before me drove it, but it did an emergency stop on me twice on the motorway. So my question is, you being a software engineer might know this, with a car so reliant on software to use it, do you think the software in the Tesla is up to the job?
I get the idea of getting your software out there early and testing it, but maybe not on the public roads.
Your Audi e-tron is 2 years old now. Is that considered older tech than this, or is this older tech?
I think the Audi e-tron is probably older.
But is it better?
It is better. From a driving experience, it's better. And going back to the one-pedal driving, I'll tell you why that is. Almost every car, every EV car have been built the same kind of way. They've cottoned onto the idea that they need to recharge, regen, if you like, through the motor. And the easiest way of doing that is to create a one-pedal driving experience. When you let your foot off the accelerator pedal, it recovers all the energy into the engine. That's fine. So you end up not using the brakes so much. So a friend of mine who bought a Model 3, first of all, was always complaining about the fact that the brakes would rust up because he never gets to use the brakes. Because if you let go of the throttle, it just sort of brakes like that. And I'm not a particular fan of that. It doesn't feel like a nice driving experience to me. And this is what the Vag platform have got right. So if you get an Audi, a Porsche, a Skoda, they all drive very similarly. But Tesla started this, and they started it. And going back to your question about software, they did it to make it easy and cheap. So they didn't virtualize the pedals. They just wired it up nice and easy to the accelerator. And for people who say that's not true, it's designed this way. How come it performs differently when the battery's full? It performs differently when the battery's full because there's nowhere to put the charge. So it drives differently. It doesn't have the same lag. So it's really, really crude. Whereas what the Vag platform have got is they've virtualized the pedals and the accelerator, so it feels more like a normal car. So no matter whether the battery's full, the regen is transparent. You just basically use the pedal and brake like you would normally, and the computer decides how to regen the battery. That, for me, I think is a level of refinement that Tesla have got a long way to go, and they can't do it now anyway because they've sold everybody. They've weaned everybody onto this idea that one-pedal driving is amazing. I don't think it is. I think if you're coming from a regular driving experience, you'd probably agree.
How do you open the door then?
There's a help manual on here somewhere. Probably just there's a button there. Not that one. That one. Actually, I think that yeah, pull that. That also works. That's it.
Oh, what's that then?
That's the open door button.
Then it was my turn to see what all the Tesla fuss is about.
Let's just turn off the
heat.
Yeah.
Got little short legs, haven't you? Right, don't tell me. Do you know, it's been. I drove a Tesla. What? Did you start it there?
No, I was just pointing at it.
Oh.
To confuse you.
Is it on?
Oh, it's on.
Yeah.
Steady now.
See, one thing I didn't like about the first Tesla I drove, and again, this isn't electric car's fault, it's just Tesla fault, was that, I couldn't work out how to get into the car. Again, if you own one, it's different, but, you can get into any car, any brand of car, ICE car, and drive it. You don't have to have a lesson in it. And I couldn't get the door open. Then a silly credit card thing that has to sit in the middle so you can start it. Then there's no start button. And then the radio was on, like Teen FM.
I think that's unfair criticism. Again, that's just a different car. Whoa, Jesus!
It is quite quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
See, that's quite impressive, the speed of it. I don't like the steering wheel so much.
I quite like the steering wheel actually. I
don't like the seats. They feel like sitting on Play-Doh or like Mr. Stay Puft.
Yeah, they're a bit squidgy, but they're quite comfy.
But it is quick.
I prefer the steering wheel to your Audi actually.
I really don't like the one-pedal braking. Can you turn that off?
No.
So it's on or off.
That's the worst thing.
Hey, it is quick, isn't it?
Yeah.
Why is it quicker with me driving? Is it because I'm a quicker driver? I'm a better driver, aren't I? You obviously can't drive it as quick as I can.
Probably. Oh dear. I don't know what I'm saying. What do you expect?
Actually, that's quite fun. I'll give it that. That's definitely got some fun.
I'm just going to put my head on the headrest in case you do it again, because I get concussion. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
It has. They have made electric cars, fun compared to a Leaf, and it holds the road pretty well. Actually, it's pretty sturdy. It's got good stability control. I mean, the wheels don't slip. I've noticed it's good for your core strength stability, isn't it? Because every time you want to not accelerate, you're decelerating. It's quite hard to make it drive. It's tiring. I want to get to 30 and stay there, but actually you're either decelerating or accelerating. So if you pull the stick down again on the right, it'll keep the speed, and then you can relax a little bit.
Yes, that's like a cruise control. But what happens if you just want to drive along and, you know, maybe adjust your speed gradually without it being accelerating or decelerating?
Well, the good cruise controls will do that. Will follow the traffic, so it's nice that you haven't got to worry about the speed. And this does that. It's pretty reliable for that, actually, the speed, given it's got no radar and it's got no parking sensors. No parking sensors.
Oh, it's exhausting, isn't it? Every time you left off the gas a little bit, it's braking.
I'm more used to it now, but I drive it on cruise control, you know, on motorways, because it gives you footache.
You're right, it's quite rattling in the back end. It's like driving a pickup truck.
God, yeah. And this is a new car.
So how much power have we used today? You've done 50 miles to get here, and we've been...
It was on 99 when I left. It's on 75 now. Oh, well, yeah. So there's a lie in this, actually. We'll do it in a minute. We'll pull over and I'll show you the lie.
All right. Have you tried bollocking it around corners? Is it? How is it?
Not in the wet. Not at all, really. No. But I wouldn't do it in the wet.
Like road holding ability.
Yeah, it feels pretty good. I haven't really razzed it, to be honest. The problem is you can, you know, it's so easy to break the speed limit in something like this. So you just got to drive it normally, really.
You've got to use that one pedal thing, because it does seem to hold the road quite well for a tall car, but then if you try and let off a bit, it's braking in the corner.
I know, and this is the thing, so you think that would be difficult and dangerous to manage, but it seems to manage it very well, actually.
But they should know. So in cars even back in the 2000s, in an automatic, it would know you're turning into a corner and it would hold the gear.
I think it does.
It shouldn't brake in the corner.
Whatever it does seems to work pretty well, I have to say. But from a driving experience point of view, I would rather know when I'm pressing the brake and not have it decide it's going to press the brake. Nearly every other EV owner that's got a car that's not on the sort of Audi, Skoda, VW platform, the Porsche platform, is going to have one pedal driving. Hyundai's the same. And you get used to it, and then it's like, why wouldn't you want that? That's exactly how it's supposed to be. But if that were true, it would behave the same when the battery's full as when the battery's empty.
So in summary then, all we've really proved then is that as an EV advocate, you quite like my diesel car, and as a petrol and diesel advocate, I quite like electric cars to a certain extent. I still don't like the range, but I can't really fault them everything else, but I don't like the Tesla Model Y. I did like the Taycan.
The Taycan's twice the price of this, though. It's, you know, even to start.
Well, the MG4 is half the price and it isn't half the car.
It'll still have one pedal driving then, I should think. I haven't driven an MG. It's the one that I haven't tried, but all the others have got one pedal driving. Nissan Leaf is depressing.
Yeah. That's like the Peugeot People Carrier or the Vauxhall Zafira of the electric car world, isn't it? It's like people have given up on life.
They're very old tech as well, the Leaf, so, you know, the battery tech. So that those are wearing out more than these are. I think that, you know, a lot of people in the comments on the last video pointed out that, you know, the battery tech has moved on now, that it's comparable, if not exceeding the lifetime of combustion engines. And what you're going to see, you know, as the market changes, which is why I'm in favour of governments in general pushing economies towards electrified economies, is it allows the industries and the technologies to change and shift to adapt. One of the things that's going to change is, when the batteries start to fail, you'll have them repaired. You can strip them down, replace the cell, put them back together, and you're on the road again. The whole economy for used cars. You'll be doing this channel in EVs, you know, in 10, 15 years' time, and it'll be what's the best second-hand EV to buy.
Yeah, do you know why?
Won't be a Tesla.
Because your lot have banned all the other cars for me. Anyway, thank you for letting me drive you piece of shit.
You're allowed to say shit on YouTube.
Yeah, you can say shit, fuck, cunt, twat, you just have to bleep it out. Like that.
Stop driving through the potholes on purpose.
No,
Trying to make it rattle more.
I can't tell in this stupid car. Suspension's so hard, I thought I was driving over gravel.
Yeah, well, you're used to the car that's driving around Fat Businessman, aren't you?
Yeah. It's like a cloud. Is it off?
It doesn't really have an off button, as far as I know. I think you just walk away and it hopefully turns off.
In case the car thieves want to borrow it. Next up, it was time to go out in the Audi A8. What's happening, butt sniffer?
It's cold in these old cars, isn't it?
Yeah, well, Audi don't make a button to control the weather, unfortunately. It is cold, it's winter.
Can you not just turn the heating on your phone a few minutes before you get in the car then?
No, I don't want to do that. It's a stupid idea. I like to feel that I'm getting into a car.
Rather than a spaceship, yeah.
It's not a spaceship. You used to be a proper person. You used to like petrol and diesel cars. I'm not quite sure what happened to you.
I used to love my Opel Manta when I was 18.
There you go. Car with a gear stick and a steering wheel connected to the wheels. Right, I've got to buy the car now, haven't I? So this is my Audi A8 4.2 V8 TDI. I was going to try and, impress you with numbers. From a normal petrol car, this seems to be quite impressive for a diesel, but I can't really wow you with the speed. In fact, we'll do an acceleration test.
Sounds nice for a diesel.
Yeah, it sounds nice, and I can't really... Well, top speed I could probably do you on. It's limited to 155.
There's no point in that though, is there?
Acceleration I'd probably lose on. So I've got to fall back on apart from the sound and the fact that I can turn heated seat knobs when I want to, and everything is there laid out, so I don't have to worry about using an iPad to turn the radio off. It's range. My worry with an electric car now is if you said to me, right, we need to go to Leeds now, which is probably 250 miles from here, I'll go, yeah, we've got half a tank of fuel, no problem, we can go straight there. If we hadn't got half a tank of fuel, we can stop off for 5 minutes and fill the thing and not have to worry about it ever again, and know that there's places on the way.
You've got to compare like with like. So if you say, okay, I'm going to drive from...
Don't take that away from me. That feels like the only benefit I've got at the moment.
If you're going to drive from Land's End to John O'Groats, yeah, you're better off in a long-legged diesel like this, for sure. If getting there quickly is what you want. But if getting there quickly is what you want, then fly.
Well, no,
a fairer comparison would be to pitch one EV against another. I mean, we're going to see the market move and change. I mean, if there's a market for it, you'll be able to buy a 1,000-mile electric car in a few years, if there's a market for it. How many people want to do 1,000 miles without stopping? Are they going to want to pay for that kind of range? Probably not. It's a bit wallowy. I mean, I suppose getting out of the hard suspension in the Model YP to this.
That's actually not a bad observation, because I've noticed that these are really nice firm seats, supportive seats, and soft suspension. And in yours, you've got these grandma chairs. Yeah. And rock hard suspension. It's really weird.
It's a strange combination.
It's a weird feeling. I would much prefer these seats, but I don't like the suspension. But I can change the suspension in this.
I mean, this
somehow
feels a little bit...
Hey, I'll put it in sport mode. Then you'll be sorry.
All right.
Hold on to your fillings. Hang on.
It doesn't feel as positive, this one.
Positive, but what?
But it's older. We're not comparing a 2023 car to a...
Positive till you got it. You negative. Dynamic comfort. Oh, that wasn't even comfort. Right, what's that say? Because I haven't got my glasses on.
Lift.
Oh no, we don't want that. Right, I've got comfort, automatic, or
dynamic. Is the Audi one, isn't it?
Right, now you're in for some shit.
Well, that should make it faster as well, shouldn't it? No.
Cheeky sod. Right, you can't compare acceleration in an electric car. To use the electric fans' own argument against them, that's not fair, because I'll lose that one. Like they were range. If you mention range, they go, that's not fair. It's not like we're like. You're not comparing like we're like. This is quick.
What's the child?
It's not a child. He's driving that. She was 4-wheel drive.
Yeah. I think most of the Teslas are 4-wheel drive now.
Do you think this car's comfortable?
It is comfortable. It does feel a little bit.
It was designed to carry big fat
unsteady
board members around, so they've put a lot of thought into making it comfortable.
I mean, I'd be very happy driving this on a long distance run.
As we said about top trumps earlier, the only other thing I've got going for me in this case is yours was 52,000, this was 4,500.
Yeah. So I think the point is that basically people like me are trying to push the market and make it more accessible for people like you to own.
All I've actually done there is prove that a second-hand car is cheaper than a new car. Because if we take a brand new petrol or Audi,
how much
diesel Audi, I don't know, probably about 80,000.
It's quite a lot, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think you should compare a comparable EV with a comparable EV. Take those on the road
shut up. You shouldn't be on this channel anyway, you stupid electric car fan. I still don't like them.
I think driving a V8 is a privilege that maybe we can't all have these days.
No, okay, maybe not a V8, but a petrol car or even a hybrid. There should be some choice for everybody, I think. I think the people who want a petrol car should buy a petrol car. People who want an electric car because it suits them or they want one, that's fine. If you want a hybrid car because you do a lot of small journeys but you don't want the range anxiety on a long journey, they should be available as well. That's what I think.
I don't disagree, but I mean, nobody's coming to take away your Audi.
Yeah, but they're banning them.
They're not going to ban this.
Well, they can't ban this one, it's already been made. But
exactly.
In the future, there's going to be one choice fits all. It's like saying, you know, I like salt and vinegar crisps, and somebody comes along and says, I like dill flavoured crisps. And you go, cool, go knock yourself out, have dill flavoured crisps. And they go, yeah, but for it to work, everybody's got to eat them. We're going to ban all the other ones, and everyone's going to have dill. And they go, I don't like dill. Why can't we just have a choice of cars? I'm not saying get rid of electric cars, but for the people that want an electric car, that do small journeys, or like you, don't mind planning the longer journeys, but other people don't want that.
I don't think everybody necessarily wants to have an electric car either. It's just, you know, the world moves on. I think it's an oversimplification just to say there are people who like EVs and there are people who don't like EVs, and we shouldn't force one view or another. I'm totally for that. I don't believe in forcing a view on somebody else unless that freedom of choice perhaps is infringing on somebody else. So you can eat whatever crisp flavour you like, but if you're eating, you know, that weird tinned fish flavoured crisps they have in Sweden, it's called strong something or other, the really stinky fish, and stink out the whole pub. That wouldn't be fair. You have a right to choose what flavour crisps you have, as long as you're not infringing on everybody else. And I think the problem with carbon-based fuels in general is that it's infringing on the planet and everyone else. So I think overall there's a bigger picture to think about. But there's still going to be a place for these cars. It's you know, you're still going to be able to buy a petrol diesel car.
Explain to me, if they ban petrol and diesel cars, how you're going to be able to buy a petrol diesel car?
Well, if you buy a new one, you won't be able to buy a new one.
Okay, yeah, but some people want to buy a new one.
Okay, so if you want to buy, you know, a 911 GTR S3 or something brand new, yeah, you're not going to be able to do that.
That doesn't seem entirely fair, does it?
You can buy an old one. Things aren't as simple as they sound. It's not like the nanny state trying to ban your freedoms. Sometimes you have to make global decisions for the greater good. It's undeniable that burning carbon from fossil fuels is not great for the planet, and you can't just do one thing and fix everything. And somebody in your comments said that, you know, even if you turned all of the cars to electric, you'd only solve 6% of the problem. Great, that's 6%.
Yeah, okay, but it's an awful lot of expense and probably waste going into changing those 6%. Wouldn't they be better off going after something like shipping or factories? I mean, the thing is, fewer people make a lot more money out of heavy industry, and it's a lot more polluting. So if you take pollution per capita of the people that actually benefit from that, surely they should be going after them first.
Well, this is the same argument around China, isn't it? It's why should we reduce our carbon emissions when China are building a power station a day? You've got to look at it in the round. You've got to look at it in the whole. I noticed that people talk about electricity generation, for example. You know, if we electrify, there's a whole load of challenges around that, which we will have to overcome. In the same way, you know, back in when we first started introducing the motor car, there weren't enough petrol stations. You know, we overcame that. There are now plenty of petrol stations, and there'll be plenty of charging. There'll be plenty of infrastructure. The technology will change. It'll move on. It'll get more efficient. I don't remember cars in the 70s being able to do 600 miles on a tank, but you know, it's quite commonplace now. This one does more than 600 miles on a tank. As far as the electricity generation is concerned, we don't generate a lot of electricity from coal anymore. But it's an oversimplification to say just because the sun isn't shining, we can't use solar. I mean, it's true, we can't use solar, but it doesn't mean that we shouldn't try and reduce the amount of electricity we generate from non-renewable sources in general. If you look at the whole picture, you're not trying to work out, does this electron from my solar panel go into my car and I drive on the road? You're trying to take electrons generally off the grid that are generated from fossil fuels. So if that's 90%, 80%, it's still a saving, and then you go and chip away at all the areas where you can make a saving, including shipping.
Would you agree with the fact that they're not going after the heavy industry because the billionaires that own it are more powerful than it looks like they're doing more to it by getting billions of people to switch over to electric cars, but that has less of an effect on the climate change than actually going after heavy industry where they're quite influential.
So I guess the argument there is, do you believe that there's a conspiracy behind trying to turn everybody out of their internal combustion engine cars? Is there somebody at the top of that's making money? I mean, yeah, there's going to be. I mean, in Elon Musk's case, it's Elon Musk. He went after electric cars, you know, arguably to save the planet, but to make a load of money out of it, and quite successfully turn the corner on electric cars for a lot of people, a lot of manufacturers.
Where's these electric rockets then? Tosser. Right, do you want to drive this?
Okay.
Try to crash it. You know what you like?
See, these have got seat adjustments on, haven't they?
Yeah, on the left.
You don't get that on a Tesla.
Your little short legs. Right.
Oh, gear stick, how quaint. Gosh. Oh, this takes me back.
Good times, yeah?
Yeah.
Proper car.
Yeah, it's a nice long-legged German car, isn't it?
Long-legged.
How many turns to lock is it? 30?
Well, it's because you're driving a Nintendo.
TikTok-mobile, yeah. That's what you do when you run one of those Teslas. Tell me what you don't like about this car then.
There's not much I don't like about it, actually. Thirst, I suppose, because it is quite thirsty because it's massive, but then you expect that if you buy a V8. It's not as quick as an electric car, which is sad, really.
Well, that's their only party trick, though, if it's a Tesla, isn't it? I mean, it's if that's what your main decision to buy an electric car is about, you're probably thinking about the wrong things.
I like everything about it. It has equipment on it that I actually like and use. It doesn't seem to be missing any equipment that I want, except for a sunroof. I wish it had a sunroof, but that isn't the fault of it having a combustion engine.
No, I can't have a go at this at all. I think this is a lovely car. I mean, to criticise this would be like punching a puppy in the face. It just wouldn't be fair. It's an older car. It's a lovely older car, but technology moves on.
What's more technologically advanced apart from the fact that you're not allowed to control your own heater system? You have to use an iPad.
Yeah, in the future you don't have buttons. We won't need fingers.
What's more advanced about not knowing how fast you're going, not knowing what temperature your car is, not knowing how to open the door, not knowing how to turn the radio off? What's more advanced about that?
So you're going to get a lot of comments about that because you learn you learn that stuff, right? You pick it up. But my point. My objection to that is that we shouldn't have to. Right now, there seems to be a bit of a renaissance around touchscreens. Everyone is piling on the touchscreens, doubling down, putting big laptops in the middle of the display, and I think that fashion will change. We'll see more buttons. We'll see more integrated screens. We'll see the technology becoming more part of the car. Maybe not in a Tesla, but certainly in some of the more traditional manufacturers.
I would be less jarred by it if they had control. I know people say, well, you have to get used to it, or you're an old dinosaur, you have to learn how to use it. It becomes
you shouldn't really.
Yeah, well, I like the user experience in an older car where you've got dials, knobs and buttons. I don't know why we can't have that.
And you will. That will come back because people will eventually they'll reject the touchscreens. The touchscreens are there for a purpose. They're there to give you more. Well, they're cheap. That's the Muskmobile solution. But also, it allows you to have, same in the Taycan, it gives you more controls without having to have buttons everywhere. So you can reduce the number of buttons. I think Audi have got it about right. They've got the kind of things you want to access all the time, like your heating controls and your volume control. They're easy to find. If you look at the Tesla screen, there's a whole lot of buttons along the bottom row of the screen that you can't even use during driving. One of them is theatre mode. You can't watch a movie while you're driving, so why they even put it there? They're not thinking about what's the most accessible thing to have. There's no way to turn the wipers off with a button, but you can turn the theatre on, which you then can't use.
But I think he's also forgotten, a lot of the user experience. Like, how nice it when you get somewhere and you press the buttons and they're all tactile and they feel nice. Even just pressing.
Rolls-Royce recognised that many years ago, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, or just the action of something, or the feel of something, the quality of something, the look of it, the way it's laid out in front of you. I mean, I do find it quite jarring sitting in a Tesla and it's just there's nothing there. And yeah, it's minimalist, but I don't like that.
But Teslas aren't the only EVs.
No.
So we can't tie them all with the same brush. What they get right, the charging infrastructure on Teslas, you just don't see the problems with it. It's really, really well thought out. Nobody's going to come and take your diesel Audi away.
I don't know they're going to take it away, but what I don't like about society in general is that there are groups of people that don't just have an opposite view, they want the opposite view banned. So by all means have an electric car. It doesn't mean you've got to ban petrol and diesel. By all means, have something else. You know, your dill flavoured crisps doesn't mean you've got to ban everybody else's. That's what I don't understand.
Well, I mean, the reason they're doing that is about meeting climate targets.
It's not going to, is it?
Well, no, but you've got to do a little bit of everything, and where I agree with it, I think, as a worldwide policy in general, is that it's more the economic argument than anything else. It's generating new industries, and we have to move forward. There's going to be new jobs. There's going to be new technology.
I'd be happier,
and we're going to have cleaner towns, cleaner air.
Well, okay. So, how about the rule then? If you live in a town or a city, you've got to have an electric car. If you don't want an electric car,
it's almost there now, isn't it?
You live outside it, or you pay extra, whatever it is, like these others. That's fine. But I would be happier if they said to me, right, we're banning petrol and diesel cars because of the climate issue. We're also going after big business. Big businesses who pollute the atmosphere are going to have to pay dearly to clean themselves up. You think, fine, well, we're all in it together then. Well, we're not in it together. We're paying to scratch the surface.
Well, this is where you're going to get fact-checked on your comments again.
Why?
Because they're going after everything. There are already lots of regulations around carbon production.
I don't mean car production. I mean these factories around the world that are pumping out, you know, chemicals and toxins and CO2 and carbon monoxide, and they're just, I mean, they're massively polluting.
But the thing is, what you end up,
they don't go at them because it'll cost them too much money.
Well, you don't know they're not going after them. The thing is, what you end up with is an argument where you're trying to defend your right to own a nice car on the basis that nobody's going after China or certain companies or something else, and you're conflating the issues. Nobody's going to take your car away. First of all, do we have to make some decisions?
No one's saying they're going to take my car away, but I'd like to buy a new one. Back in the Tesla. Well, thanks for that. So yeah, in summary, then I don't know which is better. I don't like the range.
I don't think you need to compare. You don't need to sort of pin all of EVs on this, and you don't need to pin all of ICE's future on that. People have got choice right now. They can choose whatever car they want, but the economies are going to change. They're going to move forward.
That's all I want is a choice.
You got a choice. You got that one.
So you were saying that there's 9 cameras in the car.
Well, 9 cameras on the car,
and you can't access that one.
You can access it on the phone with the latest updates when it's parked, but you can't access the footage in general.
So who can?
I think it's used by Tesla to prove that self-driving works when you have a crash. You didn't cause it. You know,
so they must be recording like 500 million cars. Then?
No, I don't think they're recording it, but they can get access to it if they want to. I think.
Well, that's a worry, isn't it? I can say whatever I like in my car. No one's watching.
Yeah, some people put a little sticker over it.
Show me the lies.
73% from driving today was 99% when I left. It's given a range of 215 miles. So 215 divided by 73 times 100. So 294 miles. So it's about a 300 mile range it's predicting. Let's say we go to the centre of Manchester. 167 miles. When we get there, it'll be down to 15%. So let's see if that's true. 215 miles minus 167. It's 48 mile range. 48 divided by 15 times 100, 320. That's not the point I was going to make. Sounds like more.
I'm almost glad I stopped listening halfway through then.
What it's saying is that if it's 15% left, to us, 215. Yeah, so it should have a 48 mile range when we get there.
This really is the joys of EV ownership, isn't it?
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know then. Don't. That's more than it said. So that isn't right then.
Well, that's a good point. Well made. Well done.
Yeah. But these two should be the same. It can't be because that will give it a 320 mile range. So, I don't know.
Okay. Let's go pub then. Thanks very much for watching, and if you enjoyed that content, please do click on one of these videos here. And if you haven't already subscribed, I'd be really grateful if you could. It really helps. Okay, bye then.